We're joined right now from a man whose music is a long way from Broadway. His name is Frank Zappa, and Frank Zappa has been a major force, a major figure on the rock and roll scene for 12 to 14 years. He's the founder of a group called the Mothers of Invention, is noted among other musicians and his many fans for his fine guitar work and also for his introduction of theatrics onto the rock and roll stage. It's nice to have you with us, Frank.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Okay.
You're in New York. You're based basically on the West Coast. You're in New York because you're going to be performing, what, for a week? Is that correct?
Roughly a week.
How's the city look to you? You don't come to town that often.
Well, I haven't had a chance to see too much outside of the hotel room and the theater, but, you know, it's crowded. It's sort of drab.
What about the vibes of the city? One would think that a guy who's as tuned as you might be might connect in an interesting way to New York.
Well, speaking about vibes, it's a good thing you talked to me about the vibes of the city. I'm always very conscious of the vibes of a city, you know, and you could almost forgive the crowding and some of the odors and everything because the vibe of New York City is so vital.
Yeah? Is that, you would describe it as a vital force?
Yeah, it's a very vital sort of
Do you ever get off on watching the people rushing in New York? I don't think there's another place in the world where people are in a hurry will risk their lives to beat a red light.
That's right.
Across the street.
That's true. On foot or in a car.
Either way, and if you collide, then why do you figure it is that way?
That's how people get to meet each other in New York.
Yeah, it's true. So have you been to Bloomingdale's?
No.
You haven't made any of the...
I haven't had any of the really treasured experiences in New York City.
I want to hear a little bit of your opinion on you've been a mainstay of the music scene for a long time. You have no intention of pulling out. What do you think of the disco sound, Frank Zappa?
Well, you know, when I travel around the world with my rock and roll band, you know, I go to a lot of places all over, you see, and if you have the choice between staying in a hotel room or going to a discotheque, you usually go to a discotheque, you see.
Right, so you have been in discotheques.
Oh, I've been to very many discotheques, and it is my observation that they're just about the same all over the world.
Mm-hmm. But what about the kind of music that is now being produced as a result of discos?
It's the
dancing
same.
Kind of music. What's your evaluation of it? Do you like it? Does it move you at all?
It fulfills its function and is a necessary tool of the disco industry. Now, the disco industry has nothing to do with music, and it has nothing to do with dancing, but it does have something to do with getting lonely people together in an environment where they can sort of make friends with each other and then have recreation afterwards.
But you say it has nothing to do with music.
No, really. It doesn't.
Why can you make a statement like that? I mean, it's supposed to be music. They sell the records in record stores and play it on your system.
You could beg the issue and say that, yeah, well, if there's notes involved in it, yeah, sure, you can tap your foot to it, but let's be realistic. What is it all for?
Just for getting people together in your...
That's right, getting them together.
Don't you find yourself moved by it? I don't mean emotionally, but physically. Isn't there something in the disco sound that makes you just kind of get with the music and flow along with it?
I think just about any kind of music at high amplitude with the bass end jacked up is going to do something to your body.
Yeah. What has the music and the performing all these years done to your body in terms of the loudness?
Well,
how's your hearing?
It doesn't hurt.
No?
No.
How's your hearing?
Huh?
How's your hearing?
No, my hearing's fine. Really. I have a 10 dB deficiency at 500 cycles in my left ear.
Jeez, it's almost as bad as me, I think. What does that all mean, 10 dB deficiency?
That means that 500 cycles, which is in the lower portion of the mid-range, I have a deficiency, which means that my ear is not sensitive to 500 cycles on this side.
Oh, I see.
That's from somebody else's instrument on that side of the stage hitting my head.
What instrument do you figure it was? The drums?
It was probably the bass.
The bass is...
It was the attack of the bass that was doing it.
I've been asked to point out that in terms of... I know you're interested in video pictures. In terms of the picture that the people are seeing of you at home right now, the image, which is purely illusion, that's being created, is that you have a piece of white paper hanging out of your right nostril.
All right.
But it is not a piece of white paper. It is one gray hair in your mustache.
No, well, then you have to zoom in closer because I have more than one. I have probably about 5.
How do you feel about those gray hairs, Frank?
I love them. Check these over here.
You got some in your...
I had a birthday yesterday. I was 36 years old.
How does it feel to be 36?
It's great.
I'm approaching that.
It's wonderful.
Really? You're able to feel a little wiser now at age 36 than you did?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Really smart now.
So now you're smart.